Alright guys, so over the course of the past couple of days, I did extensive testing on gold characters against Linkway Tower 130, and then I had something like tryouts. I tested the 3 best characters in White Lotus Tower 110 to see whether they're going to perform the same, to see whether the standings is not going to change. Long story short, every single one of the characters, with certain exceptions, and I mean with certain exceptions, but these exceptions were concerning like 2 or 3 characters that we are going to use special to no matter what. Anyways, I was giving this particular set of equipment to more or less every single character, with some exceptions, for instance classic Shang Tsung, where I would replace the Celestial Blow. I'm going to use the Ermac Rare, which is called the Soul Medallion. Apart from that, I was just using the pieces that you are currently seeing. Now, I was shocked by the end result. I was shocked by the character who won, because we have a clear winner. And the most crazy part is that I never had experience with that character. You will notice that for some characters I'm going to mention that probably I didn't perform well because of skill issue or something. I'm not really familiar with the character, but the same can be said for the character that I won the whole thing with. It was crazy. Anyways, without any further ado, basically what I did, I tested characters doing multiple attempts with them, and then I put their best time, and basically you win and you finish the fight if the last boss drops below 200k. The moment the boss drops below 200k, I take the time and finally I rank the time and I declare the winner. Also, it is good to mention that being the fastest not necessarily mean that you are the best, because in certain situations you might be the fastest but you are not very safe to use, and let's say out of 5 attempts you did the best time but you died the rest of the attempt, so it's a little bit risky to use, if you get what I mean. So you're basically a glass cannon, and that's not really great. So we are looking for something in between, a character that consistently performs good, that consistently doesn't die, and at the same time produces good time. We're going to start with Baraka. You already know his time. He manages to defeat this particular fight, and he never died. It wasn't, I believe he died either once or he never died, something like this, and his best time was 1 minute and 26 seconds on the clock. He's exceptionally good, to be honest, boss killer, excellent special 1, excellent special 2 that has speed, and if he gets blind by smoke, it's not a big deal because he's generating power passively. He can basically power drain smoke, so smoke cannot really do a lot of nasty special attacks on him. Johnny though is not really that good with blind, because once blinded he cannot generate passive power. We already had a video about that. Anyways, Combat Cup Johnny managed to do 1 minute and 20 seconds on the clock, and that was his best time. Generally speaking, again, another character that never died. I never lost Johnny in those fights, despite the fact that I got blind multiple times. So generally speaking, one of the very solid picks if you want to approach boss fights. Hanzo Kasashi, another great gold, and you're currently seeing him side by side with the Rain and KL Sindel. The interesting thing is that they both finished with their best time with the same time remaining on the clock, which was 1 minute and 6 seconds. However, when it comes to Hanzo, I did like 7 or 8 attempts, and I believe I lost him twice, mainly due to the fact that Smoke insisted on reflecting the stun back on Hanzo. But in the general case, Hanzo performed generally good. He was slower than Johnny and Baraka, but he felt like let's say safe to use. While Sindel never felt like this. I died with her all the time. In fact, I just managed to finish the fight 1 time. And this is the thing that you are currently seeing. Every other attempt I died, but probably it's the skill issue. Anyway, Sindel doesn't really feel like the greatest boss killer. She has a damage, but she's a clumsy fighter, and to be honest with you, she feels like a glass cannon. The next guy is Classic Scorpion, and next to him you're seeing Classic Sonya. Classic Scorpion best time is 1 minute and 8 seconds on the clock, slightly faster than Hanzo and Sindel, and Sonya with 1 minute left on the clock. Now the difference between those two guys is that with Sonya it's kind of weird to control the fight. It is super weird. So all you need to do special 2, and special 2, the good thing about it is that hits the entire enemy team. However, she has no means to snare, she has no means to break to bring the enemy, the best enemy back to the fight, the best enemy for you, I mean. Well, Classic Scorpion has those things. In the general case, despite the fact that Sonya can damage the entire enemy team, I never managed to get some impressive time with her. Probably again it's a skill issue, but hey, Classic Sonya is like a one-trick pony. You just pound special 1 and that's it. The problem once again is that when it comes to boss fights, you cannot control the fight using Classic Sonya, and that was the biggest issue I had with her. Classic Jade, the best time 1 minute and 5 seconds. And here we go. The biggest surprise is Lizard Jade, who manages to beat those two bosses with 1 minute and 32 seconds remaining on the clock. Now, Classic Jade and Lizard Jade both can control the fight in the sense that they both have snare. However, Lizard Jade has the ability to damage the entire enemy team. And not only that, Lizard Jade has Curse on her combo, which means that she can keep the boss always with 5 stacks of her passive, and this means that she will be doing more damage to the guys that are tagged out, and since the guy she's hitting is cursed, the damage is going to be even further amplified. The only problem I had with Jade is that, of course, if she gets blind, it's game over. Fortunately for me, she didn't get blind that often because of her passive. She has another 30% chance to reflect the blind, apart from the 50% resistance to the boss that the gear and the talent set gives. So in a way, she would get blind not that often. And another problem I had with her is that she's very clumsy in the corner. So once you corner your enemy, you have to tag her out. But in any other case, she is just awesome. She deals insane damage. She basically controls the fight because of the snare, and she can damage all the characters. And currently, as you can see, she actually performed better than Lizard Baraka, her comrade. Currently, the best time in Linkway Tower, 130. The next guy, it is Flaming Fist Liu Kang. I really try hard to make him work, but his best time was 1 minute, and in every single other fight, I managed to do that without tagging out the character, but for Flaming Fist Liu Kang, I had to tag him out, because I couldn't do it without it. At a certain point, his damage is simply not enough, and he's going to get blind, he's going to get wrecked. So, with tagging him out all the time, I could manage to do it in 1 minute. And Daniel Blood Kitana is even slower than Flaming Fist Liu Kang. However, she is by far the funniest boss skewer in the game, guys. Just look at this. Just look at how Kitana survives this and actually turns the fight around. It looks actually lost. I was sure that I lost the fight at that moment because she was so low, but her shield protected her even at 1 HP, and at the end of the day she managed to defeat this particular fight. Anyways, despite the fact that she feels safe, again, probably as a skill issue, but the biggest thing that I got out of me testing a Daniel Blood Kitana is the fact that she felt safe. She can reflect the blind back to smoke, which is super cool. She can basically take all the damage in the world without dying, but I couldn't really got the middle ground between trying to survive and trying to reflect the buffs and dealing damage. This is the reason why my absolute best time with her was 48 seconds left on the clock, which makes her actually the slowest character of my test, which is a little bit embarrassing, but again, probably a skill issue. The next two characters, Edenian Blood Rain and Classic Shang Tsung. Now, Edenian Blood Rain, Classic Shang Tsung were kind of interesting to use. I have a lot of experience with Edenian Blood Rain, but never against bosses. The problem I had with him is that you can control the fight by basically fearing out the enemies, which is quite cool. So, for instance, just before Smoke is about to give you the blind, you can just fear him away, so you can reset the clock. That's pretty cool. But generally speaking, I didn't feel like his damage was enough. And the lack of snare is also a little bit unfortunate. So generally speaking, Edenian Blood Rain was just okay. I wouldn't consider him as an amazing boss killer. He can be very good support, and with the correct gear he can become very substantial. But with base gear, he isn't really incredible, to be honest with you. Classic Shang Tsung, another guy, he was consistent, by the way. He was one of the characters that I never lost a game with. So I owe in every single game, I managed to defeat the bosses without dying. I believe I just died once or something. I don't even remember how it happened, but what I'm saying is that he feels safe. He's consistent, but kind of slow. I mainly use him for his special too. He was one of the characters where I had Soul Medallion while I was testing. It just takes so long to do damage. So if I have to summarize about Shang Tsung, he was safe, but at the same time, the damage isn't really impressive. Or probably I was doing something wrong, so you can let me know in the comment section. Probably another skill issue here. And the last two checks, the last two actually tests were Elder God Kenshi, but I'm not going to mention Elder God Kenshi because it wasn't fair. The problem I have with the emulator is that I cannot really do those swiping mini games. I just cannot do that better than 80 or something. It's super weird. it doesn't work on the keyboard, so I'm going to let him away from this. I'm just going to mention that my very best time was 53 seconds with Kenshi, but again, it's not fair. I couldn't really do special one. Usually I would do like 60%, 70% of the minigame, and that's not fair. However, the last two characters that I'm going to compare are Kung Jin, Marksman Kung Jin, and Pyromancer Tanya. Pyromancer Tanya is a bad boss killer, straight right off the bat. I'm sorry, she is insane in towers against characters that can bleed, that can, of course, against characters that can be set on fire without healing for it, right? She's exceptional there, but against bosses, she isn't really great. My very best attempt was about 1 minute, and I didn't even finish the fight because I was that annoyed by using Pyromancer Tanya against bosses. She just cannot function well against bosses, guys, I'm sorry. So, in my opinion, one of the very worst boss killers in the Gold Realm. However, Kung Jin, he's super cool. The problem with him is that the best time I got with him was 51 seconds. The beauty of it is that I did it without tagging him out. For a moment I was like, okay, probably I'm going to do it, but I have to start tagging him in out. But I managed to do it without tagging him out, and it took me 51 seconds. The problem with Kung Jin is that he has very low damage. Super low damage. And in order for him to start doing a lot of damage, he's reliant on luck. So he needs to stun the enemy, and then this stun should provide shield break. And the chances of this happening are not very high. So anyways, my very best time with Kung Jin was 51 seconds. And in the beginning I said we're going to have tryouts between the three characters that performed best in Link Way 110, so that I can test them. I'm sorry, in Link Way 130, so I can test them in White Lotus 110. And those three characters were Lizard Jade, Baraka, and Johnny Cage. So let's see what happened. That's absolutely incredible. Alright guys, so Battle 110 was a mess, because I couldn't really control the fight in any way, shape or form, because sooner or later, you cannot put every single character under the same circumstances. And I'm not saying that this test is perfect, I'm not saying that the results of this test means that the character who ranks first is the best boss killer. However, I can proudly say that, based on my results, I can say that this guy is one of the best boss killers, this is for sure, I can say it. But anyways, Battle 110 was a little bit unfortunate because you have guys that tag in and out, and MK11 Liu Kang tags in and he gets to X-Ray, stealing your power, then you're in a lot of trouble. So I decided for this fight, tagging out is allowed, because for the previous fights it wasn't allowed, for this fight it is allowed. Anyways, currently you're seeing comparison between Baraka and Johnny Cage, and you can see the Johnny Cage time is pretty cool. He manages to kill the first guy, to snare him, and then it's pretty simple. From this point on, all you need to do is to finish Liu Kang. Of course, Liu Kang is going to attack, I'm going to attack my guy back, so that somebody else can eat the X-ray, and then I'm going to finish the fight using Combat Cup Johnny Cage. It wasn't the same situation with Baraka. Baraka actually had a little bit of more chaotic fight, but what happens is that at the end of the day, they're both going to have almost the same time. Trust me guys, I tried it a couple of times, and they both finished the fight with almost the same time. Now if there is 1 second difference or something, Baraka did it in 1.19 on the clock, you're currently seeing Johnny did it 1.18, it's not really, doesn't really matter, you can tell that they're equal. 1 second is nothing, probably it's not even a full second, it's like part of a second, it doesn't really matter. And they approached the fight completely different, since Baraka never tagged out and Johnny Cage had to tag out. However, I also had other attempts where Baraka tagged out, then Sangat Koto Khan ate the X-ray, then Baraka tagged back in, and his time was kind of similar, 1.17 on the clock and 18. So what I'm saying is that those two guys are super close. You cannot really tell which one is better. In the previous fight, I can tell that Baraka was better due to the fact that he can handle blind better, but in this fight, you cannot really tell. You cannot really tell. They kind of feel powerful enough. Johnny is a guy that can apply, let's say, snare better because of his special one chaining, and Baraka, when you play Baraka, you just want to do his special 2. So it's a little bit risky. If you don't want to do special 2, he just feels slow, so you need to do special 2 to get the speed and then start spamming special 1, which means that the chance the enemy is going to tag out is higher. However, what's happening? What's happening when Jade is fighting? And that's absolutely amazing. I tried her a couple of times, and in certain occasions she would perform better than both Baraka and Johnny Cage. It is absolutely incredible, and you're currently seeing her best attempt. What's going to happen now is I'm going to tag to Sangat Kotokan to eat the X-ray. However, at this particular point, I'm 1.33 left on the clock, so Jade has plenty of time. She has like 15 seconds to beat the best time of Baraka and Johnny Cage. And unfortunately, disaster, Cyrax Triborg tags in. In Johnny Cage, a particular attempt, he tagged in immediately after X-Ray. So let's be fair to Jade and give her some extra 7 seconds. Her time, as you're currently seeing, is 1 minute and 18 seconds on the clock. But it wasn't fair because she lost 7 seconds while waiting Cyrax to die, so we're going to give her back those 7 seconds, and her final time is 1 minute and 25 seconds, which makes her faster than Baraka and Johnny Cage. She beat them in White Lotus Tower 110, and she beat them in the Linkway Tower 130, so definitely the absolute surprise of this video. I didn't expect that. I always knew that she was a good character. I thought highly of her, but after I did this video, after I did the testing against bosses, I believe she deserves to be an S tier GOAT. In my opinion, she's pretty cool, very useful at Fusion Zero, as you can see, great boss killer, among the best, and generally speaking, decent more or less everywhere. So Lizard Jade, absolutely a beast of a character. Once again, she beat Baraka and Johnny in 2 tests, and probably she's going to become even better if I have to compare her against 3 bosses, because she'll be damaging all of them at the same time. It is absolutely busted. And considering that she has Curse and her crits hurt ton, wow, I didn't expect that, to be honest. I was like, Lizard Jade, let me test her against boss, and then I was like, wow, this girl rocks, without any doubt. Alright guys, so this is going to be all for me for today. I'm about to do the same video for the diamond, so if you have any suggestions, please let me know down below in the comment section. See you next time guys, and have an amazing rest of your day.